Stop everything and listen to me now. If you drift through this speech the way you drift through your days, it will pass through your ears like wind through an open field. You will remember nothing, you will apply nothing, and your life will remain exactly as it is. But if you listen as if your very destiny depends upon it, because it does, then what you are about to hear will not merely inform you, it will rebuild you. You are standing at a crossroads. One path leads to clarity, riches, and command over your life. The other leads to continued confusion, frustration, and the silent pain of wondering why nothing has changed. This is not entertainment. This is not passive consumption. This is not just another video. This is the law spoken aloud, tested across empires, and handed down to you in its purest form. And if you obey it, not once, not casually, but daily, deliberately, and defiantly, then the life you've been chasing will begin to chase you. I give you no motivation here. I give you instruction, and I tell you in the strongest terms, whatever the mind of man can conceive and believe, it can achieve. Not through luck, not through timing, not through chance, but through law, and law alone. Wealth does not begin in your job. It does not begin in your bank account. It does not begin in the favor of others or the circumstances you were born into. It begins in the mind, and only in the mind. Every fortune that has ever been built started as a thought, held with belief, fueled with desire, directed by plan, acted upon with discipline, and repeated with unshakable will. But if the mind is not governed, it drifts. And drifting is the silent killer of all success. Let me speak to you directly. Most men are not defeated by the world. They are defeated by their own passivity. They read books but never apply. They listen to knowledge but never act. They say they want riches but think and speak in the language of lack. They wish but never decide. They try but never commit. And worst of all, they excuse their idleness as waiting for the right time. But the man who becomes rich thinks on purpose. He walks with decision. He acts with speed. He speaks with clarity. And he repeats these principles until the mind surrenders. This is what you must now do. For over 25 years, I was commissioned to study the difference between the men who succeed greatly and the men who fail consistently. I interviewed more than 25,000 individuals who did not succeed, and more than 500 who built measurable wealth, power, and influence. The failures had no structure, no principles, no definite purpose. But the successful, Carnegie, Ford, Edison, Rockefeller, Schwab, each obeyed the same 13 principles, whether they knew them by name or not. These are the principles I will now deliver to you, not as theory, but as immortal structure. I do not give you my opinion. I give you the cause of success, documented and distilled from the minds of giants. Let me be absolutely clear. What you are about to hear is not information. It is a blueprint. It is not a summary. It is a transmission. These are not tips. They are not motivational fragments. They are universal laws, which when obeyed with repetition and emotional intensity, must yield riches, first in the mind and then in the world. You will hear of desire, the starting point of all riches. Without it, there is no fire. You will learn faith, the medium through which thoughts are translated into reality. You will master autosuggestion, the daily ritual of installing belief and identity. You will discover the value of specialized knowledge and how general education fails. You will understand the necessity of imagination, the workshop of the mind. You will see the demand for organized planning, not vague ambition, but execution. You will learn the power of decision, how success belongs only to the bold. You will master persistence, the refusal to quit even when all seems lost. You will build a master-mind alliance because no empire is built alone. You will control your sexual energy and transmute it into legacy. You will influence your subconscious mind, your silent servant. You will tune your brain, a broadcasting and receiving station for thought. And finally, you will awaken your sixth sense, the invisible force that guides the trained man. These 13 principles are not a menu. You do not pick and choose. They are a system, a code, a law. And the man who obeys all, with faith, repetition, and action, must see results. But I warn you, if you listen only once, your mind will return to its old condition. If you take notes but never speak them aloud, your subconscious will ignore them. If you understand but do not apply, you will remain exactly where you are. This speech is to be studied, not consumed, to be spoken, not merely heard, to be lived, not admired. And if you will repeat it for 7 days, 30 days, 90 days, it will not merely change how you think. It will change who you are. You will begin to walk differently, think differently, speak differently. You will make decisions faster. You will say no to distractions. You will walk away from the voices of the weak. You will begin to build yourself by design. And that is the purpose of this message. I now charge you, as you move into the 13 principles, make a decision. Not to try, not to learn, not to give it a shot, but to train, to obey, to repeat, to live by law, to become the man to whom riches cannot say no. Say this now. I am not here to wish. I am here to learn the laws. I will think. I will act. I will become. Again, I am not here to wish. I am here to learn the laws. I will think. I will act. I will become. This is your beginning. This is your border crossing from wandering to definiteness, from fear to faith, from frustration to fortune. Welcome to the laws of wealth. Let us begin where all wealth begins, not in gold, not in labor, not in opportunity, but in desire. Not a faint wish, not a soft hope, but a burning desire. White hot, all-consuming, relentless in its demand, deaf to doubt and blind to distraction. There is no success without this fire, none. The man who dabbles will remain poor. The man who wonders will remain weak. But the man who decides that he must have what he sees in his mind, and who will pay whatever price, endure whatever ridicule, wait however long, and act again and again without retreat, that man will be rich. And he will be rich first in mind, then in fact. Desire is not something you stumble into. It is not born of accident. It is cultivated, chosen, and fed. And you must now begin to treat it not as a feeling, but as a command. Let me now give you the story of Edwin C. Barnes, not because it is pleasant, but because it is proof. Barnes was a poor man. He had nothing, not in money, not in position, not in favor, but he had one thing that separated him from the masses, a definite desire to become a business partner of Thomas Edison. Not to work for him, not to serve him, not to impress him, but to become his partner. This was no idle wish. This was not daydreaming. Barnes was obsessed with that one thought, and he would allow no other outcome. With no money, he boarded a freight train. He showed up at Edison's laboratory in rags. He asked to speak with him. And when he was brought into the room, Edison later said that what struck him most was not Barnes's appearance, but the certainty in his eyes. Barnes did not become Edison's partner that day, not that week, not that year. He was given menial work, he swept floors, he waited, but his desire did not flicker. It burned more brightly. He did not complain, he did not waver, he stayed. Years later, Edison created a new invention, a dictating machine. None of his salesmen wanted to touch it. They didn't believe in it. But Barnes saw his moment. He stepped forward and said, "I will sell it." And sell it he did, with such fire and effectiveness that he was rewarded not as a salesman, but as a partner. This is how burning desire becomes fact. Now I tell you plainly, if Barnes had merely hoped, he would have quit. If he had merely wished, he would have found a better paying job. If he had waited for conditions to improve, he would have died a nobody. But his desire was definite, and that desire was transmuted into riches. You must now do the same. There are 6 exact steps by which any man may transmute desire into its physical equivalent. These steps are not to be considered, debated, or tested. They are to be obeyed. The 6 steps to transmute desire into riches. 1. Fix in your mind the exact amount of money you desire. Do not say, I want plenty. Be exact. Specificity is law. Determine exactly what you intend to give in return for the money. There is no such thing as something for nothing. Life demands value. 3. Establish a definite date when you intend to possess the money. The subconscious must receive direction. Time brings pressure. Pressure creates power. 4. Create a definite plan for carrying out your desire and begin at once, whether you are ready or not. Delay kills desire. Action feeds it. 5. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money, the time limit, what you will give, and your plan. This is your personal contract with wealth. 6. Read your written statement aloud, twice daily, once when you rise, once before sleep. As you read, see and feel yourself already in possession of the money. The subconscious moves by image and emotion, not intellect. Do not merely understand these steps. Repeat them until your life reflects them. Speak them aloud until your voice trembles with belief. Live by them as a soldier lives by his orders. Let me give you the instruction again, in your own voice. Repeat this now. I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I burn all bridges behind me. I desire, and I obey that desire with action. Say it again, and mean it. This is not poetry. This is not affirmation for emotional comfort. This is identity construction. This is how desire begins to form your being. You will notice I did not say to ask for riches. I said to demand them. Life gives only what is demanded with precision and sacrifice. Vague wants are ignored by the universe, but the man who names his price pays it and speaks it daily. He cannot be denied. Let us pause here and consider the opposite of burning desire. The average man wishes. He says things like, I hope one day, or it would be nice if, or maybe someday, and then he returns to his habits of indecision, delay, and compromise. He calls this realism, but it is defeat disguised as maturity. Desire, when real, does not permit compromise. It does not ask the opinions of the crowd. It does not beg for support. It does not fade with failure. It demands its right to exist, and it trains the man to become worthy of it. Do not wish, do not dabble, do not drift. Decide what you desire and become obsessed. Burn your bridges behind you. Remove the exit signs. Shut the doors of retreat. Do not talk of backup plans. The man who says I'll try has already quit. The man who says I will has already begun to win. There is a law at work here. Thought, when repeated with emotion, becomes belief. Belief, when backed by plan and action, becomes fact. This is not theory, this is law. And desire is the fuel that drives it all. If your desire is weak, go no further. You must first strengthen it. You must feed it daily. Speak it aloud. Write it again. Think on it as you walk, eat, and breathe. Let it grow teeth. Let it demand action. Then you will know it is ready. Let me now give you your daily drill. Write your definite aim. Speak it aloud each morning and night. Feel it as done. Act immediately every day in alignment with it. Let no man or mood distract you from it. Desire is not an idea. It is a mental fire. And you must now tend to it like your life depends on it. Because it does. This is the foundation of all wealth. And without it, nothing in this book will work. But with it, everything becomes possible. Let me say this one more time, and let it brand itself onto your soul. I demand riches of life with definite purpose. I burn all bridges behind me. I desire, and I obey that desire with action. Let that be your code from this day forward. Desire without clarity is like a fire without direction. It spreads, it burns out, it turns to smoke. And the reason why most men never convert their desire into wealth is because they refuse to give it form. They wish vaguely, they imagine broadly, they hope someday, but they never decide precisely. And riches do not come to the hopeful, they come to the definite. You must now give your desire shape. It must be written, spoken, reviewed, and held before the mind like a blueprint before the builder. Without a clear aim, the subconscious cannot act. Infinite intelligence cannot respond, and your will has no place to anchor. So let us first speak of specificity. Do you know the exact amount of money you desire? Not a lot, not enough to live well. I ask for an exact figure. Is it 100,000, 1 million, 10? Name the number, then ask yourself, by when? Wealth does not respond to someday. It responds to dates, deadlines, and declarations. Now ask yourself, what are you willing to give in exchange? Wealth is not granted. It is earned through service. What problem will you solve? For whom? Through what product, what offer, what effort, what mastery? You must write this out. If you cannot answer these questions yet, you are not ready for riches. But you can become ready today by writing the answers down and refining them every day until they are sharp, solid, and sacred. I give you now a command, not a suggestion. Take out a page, and on it write the following declaration. It must be in your own words, but it must include these elements: the exact amount of money, the definite date by which you intend to possess it, what you are giving in return, the plan you have begun acting upon. Here is a structure. By the exact date, I will have in my possession specific amount of money, which will come to me in return for specific service rendered. I will begin this process immediately by first action step. I will speak this aloud twice daily and act on it without fail. Write this now, not later. Now, until this is written, the rest of this journey is speculation. Once written, you must speak it aloud, twice daily, morning and night. Why? Because the mind is not moved by what it reads. It is moved by what it feels. And repetition, backed by emotion, is how belief is installed. This is not self-help. This is mental engineering. Every morning when the world is silent before fear has a chance to speak, you will rise, stand, breathe deeply, and declare your aim aloud. Not quietly, not casually. With fire in the voice and belief in the belly, you must feel the words resonate in your body. And every night before sleep, when the mind is most open to suggestion, you must do it again. Speak it, feel it, then see it. Imagine yourself inside it. Walk the rooms of your goal, hear the sounds, taste the reward, stand inside the life you are building. Your subconscious does not distinguish between real and imagined. It only obeys what is repeated with feeling, and it begins to influence your body, your thoughts, your habits, and your environment to bring it to pass. Let me speak to your doubt. You may say, "It feels strange to speak this aloud." That is because you have been trained by the world to speak of what you fear, not what you demand. But I tell you, the man who is too proud to speak his aim aloud is not yet ready to receive it. Repetition is not weakness. It is how every truth becomes identity. You did not learn to walk, to speak, to write, or to live without repetition. So why would you learn to become rich without the same law? If you skip days, you weaken the signal. If you doubt while speaking, you delay the process. If you treat this like an exercise rather than a command, you will return to drift. But if you obey this daily ritual, you will begin to feel something inside you harden, not in arrogance, but in certainty. You will walk straighter. You will speak with less hesitation. You will make decisions faster. You will act more boldly, because you are no longer wondering if wealth is for you. You are installing the identity of the man who already possesses it. This is the daily reinforcement of desire. You are not visualizing, you are programming. You are not trying, you are constructing it. You are not dabbling, you are commanding. Let me now give you your drill. Morning. Before anything else, stand, breathe, and declare your written aim. Visualize yourself already in possession of the result. Feel the certainty in your chest. Act. Take at least one definite step toward your aim. Evening. Read your aim aloud again. Imagine yourself completing it. Drift to sleep with that image in your mind. Repeat this every day without exception for 30 days, then again for 60, then again for 90. If you miss a day, start over. This is not superstition. It is training. This is how the subconscious surrenders. Say this aloud now. I do not wish, I decide, I speak with fire, I act with certainty, I reinforce my desire daily. Repeat that. Let it anchor in you. You are becoming the man who is no longer ruled by mood, but by mission. You are no longer led by fear, but by clarity, repetition, and decision. Desire is no longer just a feeling in you. It is becoming a structure. It is sharp, and it is specific, and it is backed by speech. It is reinforced by repetition. It is driven by belief, and it is demanding results. This is how riches begin. This is the fire of desire, clarified, repeated, and directed. You will go no further than your belief. That is not a possibility. It is a law. Your belief sets the ceiling of your life. And while many men speak of faith as if it were a soft and emotional feeling, I tell you now, faith is not feeling. It is not a whisper of hope. It is not something you wait for. It is something you build. Faith is not born from mood. It is born from decision, decision repeated until the subconscious accepts it as law. Most men never rise because they wait to believe. They say, once I see results, I will believe in myself. But that is not how faith works. Faith is the cause, not the effect. You do not see results and then believe. You believe and then you see. That is the order. That is the structure. And any man who violates that structure must live by default. He must drift, stumble, delay, and shrink. But the man who believes without evidence, the man who installs his vision into his own subconscious with repetition, emotion, and conviction, that man becomes dangerous to failure. Let me tell you now about one such man. His name was Henry Ford. He was not born to wealth. He was not backed by academia. But he had one quality that placed him far above his peers. He believed in a future that no one else could see. While the world still trusted the horse, Ford saw the automobile. While the experts laughed, he went to work. They said it was impossible. They said it would fail. They said the market would never support it, but he had seen it already in his mind. And what he had seen, he believed. And what he believed, he built. He did not argue. He did not plead for understanding. He moved, and the world was forced to catch up. Ford's belief was not passive. It was not theoretical. It was not borrowed from others. It was installed. He repeated his vision. He spoke it aloud. He burned bridges behind him. He acted while doubted. And in doing so, he taught us this: belief is the internal architecture of all achievement. You may ask, how can I believe in something I have not yet done? And I answer you this: through repetition and emotion, the subconscious mind can be convinced of anything. It does not know what is real. It does not care what is true. It responds only to what is repeated, emotionalized, and accepted. This is where autosuggestion joins hands with faith. Autosuggestion is the act of planting the seed. Faith is the result of that seed being accepted and nurtured by the subconscious mind. You do not need to feel like a millionaire to become one. You need only to speak as one, think as one, act as one, and do so repeatedly until your inner self begins to reflect that identity without resistance. Do not wait to feel it. Speak it. Speak it until the feelings come. Act until the belief begins to emerge from within. The man who waits to feel ready will never begin. The man who decides, speaks, and repeats will begin before he is ready and will make himself ready in the process. Let me give you the formula, and do not treat it lightly. Autosuggestion plus emotion equals belief. Belief plus plan plus action equals results. Most men try to act without belief. They make plans with doubt. They speak with fear in their throat, and so their efforts collapse. But the man who speaks his aim daily, who attaches emotion to every word, who visualizes his success until it feels familiar, that man begins to radiate a confidence that others can feel even before he speaks. This confidence is not arrogance, it is not showmanship, it is the stillness of the man who knows what is coming because he has already lived it 1,000 times in the quiet of his morning ritual. Faith does not come by chance, it comes by choice. Choice made again and again until belief becomes instinct. You must now decide to believe, not after the results come, not when you feel ready, not when others agree, but now. Because the man who lives by faith receives answers the doubter never hears. He receives opportunities the timid man never sees. He receives favor, speed, strength, insight, and eventually results. Say this aloud now and say it with power. I believe, I building, I act, my faith conquers fear. Again, I believe, I building, I act, my faith conquers fear. If you say this once, it will do nothing. If you say it without feeling, it will do nothing. But if you say it every morning, before the world speaks doubt into you, if you say it with full conviction, with breath in your chest and light in your eyes, your mind will begin to change. And once the mind changes, everything changes. And faith is not some distant reward. It is not earned by prayer alone. It is built by obedience, obedience to your vision, your voice, your action. You are not waiting for faith. You are programming it. And when you have built it, truly built it, you will begin to speak in a new tone. You will not explain yourself. You will not apologize for your dream. You will not wait for permission. You will not need motivation. You will be moved by the belief that what you speak is already done. That is when the world begins to bend to your voice. That is when fear begins to flee from your thoughts. That is when people begin to treat you differently, not because you've changed your clothing or your job, but because you have installed belief into your identity, and belief is magnetic. Let us speak once more. I believe, I building, I act, my faith conquers fear. That is the declaration of a man who has chosen not to be ruled by sight, but by vision. Not by mood, but by mission. Not by doubt, but by law. Faith is the eternal elixir of power, and it belongs to the man who builds it. You cannot build faith by wishing for it. You cannot wait for belief to appear. You cannot hope that one morning you will awaken full of confidence. That is not how the mind works. That is not how law works. Faith is not bestowed. It is constructed, step by step, brick by brick, thought by thought. And the tool you will use to build it is thought discipline, the daily governance of your internal world. Let me tell you what most men do. They speak of goals, but think in fear. They plan for the future, but rehearse the pain of the past. They say they want wealth, but complain of poverty. They affirm victory with their mouths and affirm defeat with their emotions. And the subconscious, which does not argue, which does not reason, accepts all of it, especially what is repeated, and especially what is emotionalized. I now give you the governing truth of this entire principle. Write this down. Speak it aloud. Memorize it until your blood recites it in silence. Whatever you repeat with emotion is accepted as truth by the subconscious mind. Not what you read once, not what you think casually, but what you repeat with feeling. This is how all belief is built, not by logic, not by talent, not by knowledge, but by deliberate suggestion. You have already experienced this. Every doubt you carry, every fear you obey, every limitation you've adopted was suggested to you and accepted by repetition. You did not choose those thoughts. They were installed. You were told you weren't good enough. You believed it because you heard it enough. You were taught to fear wealth, to expect rejection, to stay small. And the only reason it feels real is because it has been repeated so many times. But the same process that built your limits will now become your liberation, because now you will become the architect of your belief system, not its victim. And you will build your faith, not in the world's opinion, not in the past, but in your definite purpose, your future, and your authority to command it. You will now install faith by disciplining your tongue. Your mouth will speak only what your future requires. You will no longer describe your circumstances. You will declare your outcome. You will no longer speak from emotion. You will speak to train your emotion. You will no longer talk about what you fear. You will speak only of what you are building. This is not delusion. This is law. Let me now teach you the exact practice. Each morning, before the world invades your mind, you will speak your definite chief aim aloud. You will not whisper. You will not question. You will say it with energy, with conviction, with the kind of voice that says, "This is not a suggestion. This is my contract with the universe." Immediately after you will speak your core affirmations, these are not random phrases. These are identity commands, and they must be stated in the present tense with emotion. Let your body feel it. Let your eyes focus. Let your voice match the man you are becoming. Here is one such affirmation. Say it with me now. I believe, I building, I act, my faith conquers fear. Say it again and again until your voice strengthens, until your body rises, until your doubts retreat. Then at night before sleep, you will repeat the process. The final thoughts you plant before rest will sink into the subconscious and be nurtured in your sleep. This is not a motivational trick. This is how builders train the invisible worker within them. If you do this for 7 days, you will feel a shift. If you do it for 30 days, you will build a new self-concept. If you do it for 90 days, your inner man will be unrecognizable. Let me now give you a deeper warning. You must not allow any negative thought to go unchecked. The subconscious is always listening. If you catch yourself thinking, "I can't," replace it immediately. "I can and I will." If you think, "This won't work," say aloud, "It is already working in my favor." If you catch yourself drifting into fear, stop and declare, "I walk by faith. I act with boldness. I trust what I have spoken." This is what it means to discipline your inner world. The lazy mind complains. The average mind reacts. But the wealthy mind is trained, guarded, and fed with precision. You will become that man. And once your inner world is trained, the outer world must respond. You will walk with certainty. Others will hear it in your tone. They will feel it before you speak. Doors will open. Resources will appear, not because the world is now easier, but because you have become definite. Faith is not what you have. It is what you become. Say this now. Let it become your command. I believe. I building. I act. My faith conquers fear. Again, slower. With breath in your chest, I believe. I building. I act. My faith conquers fear. You are no longer waiting to feel ready. You are no longer waiting for proof. You are no longer feeding doubt. You are now installing belief by law, by repetition, by speech, by decision. This is how faith is built. This is how faith becomes power. And this is how that power becomes wealth. You do not become what you want. You become what you repeat. And what you repeat with emotion, with certainty, with faith, that becomes your reality. Not because of chance, but because of autosuggestion, the bridge between your conscious thoughts and your subconscious execution. The subconscious mind is the most obedient servant you will ever know, and also the most dangerous if left untrained. It has no judgment. It does not argue. It does not reason. It does not ask whether your command is wise or foolish. It accepts what you feed it, especially if that thought is repeated, emotionalized, and charged with belief. And so I tell you now, every man is using autosuggestion. But only the wise man uses it deliberately. The average man, without realizing it, is programming himself with fear, hesitation, and defeat. He says, "I can't do this," and his subconscious accepts the order. He says, "I'm always broke," and the mind says, "As you wish." He says, "I'm not good with people," or "I never get lucky," or "This is just how I am," and the subconscious goes to work to ensure that those words become reality. But the man who succeeds, the one who masters his world, masters first his words. He feeds his mind only what he wishes to become. He speaks his aim. He repeats his affirmation. He visualizes his success. And in doing so, he instructs his subconscious to create a life in line with those thoughts. This is not a game. This is not an idea to try when you feel like it. This is law. The same law that grows a seed into a tree, that moves the tides, that governs the universe. This law governs your mind. You must now understand that your subconscious is most open 20 minutes after waking and 20 minutes before falling asleep. These are the golden windows. The conscious mind is drowsy in those moments, its resistance is low, and the subconscious is highly impressionable. What you hear, speak, or dwell on in those windows will sink deeper than at any other time of day. That means you must guard those times with your life. Do not check your messages upon waking. Do not consume fear-based headlines. Do not speak to people who have no aim. Protect your mind like a king guards his throne. In the morning, before the world invades, your first words must be deliberate. Stand. Breathe deeply. Speak aloud your definite chief aim. Read it as law. Do not recite it. Declare it. Then say your affirmations, slowly, powerfully, with feeling. After this, take 5 minutes for gratitude. Not for everything, for something specific. Gratitude tunes the mind for abundance. Then review your goals. Let your mind be flooded with the direction of your life before the distractions arrive. This is your morning ritual. These few minutes will determine whether your day is ruled by vision or by reaction. Then at night, repeat the process. Before sleep, before your conscious mind surrenders to the dark, you must feed your subconscious its final instructions. Speak your aim. Speak your affirmations. Visualize your goal as already complete. See the numbers. See the faces. Walk the rooms. Hear the sounds. Fall asleep inside your success. And your subconscious, like a good servant, will go to work in the night. It will sort, organize, attract, direct, and plant the necessary seeds to move you forward, even as you rest. This is why listening to speeches like these, repeating them, studying them, coming back to them again and again, is not redundancy. It is reinforcement. Each time you return to this message, you are doing so in a new unit of time. You are not the same man you were yesterday. Your beliefs have shifted. Your emotions have evolved. Your understanding has matured. And what you hear today, you could not have fully grasped yesterday. That is why this message must be played often, not for entertainment, but for programming. You are not here to learn a few concepts. You are here to rebuild your subconscious mind so that wealth, discipline, and clarity become automatic. That is what autosuggestion makes possible. Let me tell you this. If you do not control your mind, someone else will. If you do not plant your aim, the weeds of fear will grow. If you do not speak your purpose, the world will give you its noise. If you do not repeat who you are, the past will tell you who you were. You must become the dominant voice in your life, your inner narrator, your daily commander, not through willpower, but through word power. You may think this is too simple, but the most powerful laws in the world are always simple. Say something long enough, and you believe it. Believe it long enough, and you act on it. Act on it long enough, and you become it. Become it long enough, and the world rewards you for it. This is how belief is born. This is how faith is installed. This is how wealth is built. Now, let me give you examples of affirmations. Use them until your subconscious accepts them as identity. I am a man of purpose. My thoughts are power. My voice builds wealth. I am the architect of my future. I speak only what I intend to live. I act without hesitation. I expect success because I build it. I was not born to drift. I was born to decide. I was born to lead. I was born to win. Speak those with strength. Say them until you believe them. Say them until the old voice inside you dies. Say them until your world begins to move in response to your word. The subconscious cannot argue. It only obeys, and from this day forward, it will obey you, because you have chosen to obey the law of autosuggestion. Say this now. Let it ring like a drumbeat in your soul. I do not speak by accident, I speak by design. My words program my world. My mind obeys what I repeat. Again, I do not speak by accident, I speak by design. My words program my world. My mind obeys what I repeat. This is no longer a theory. This is your daily practice. You are no longer careless. You are no longer hoping. You are no longer waiting. You are programming and you are repeating. You are constructing the man you are meant to become. And the subconscious, the silent worker, is already listening. Let us now strip away one of the most dangerous illusions that has ever been sold to man, the idea that education, in and of itself, guarantees success. It does not. If it did, then every classroom would be filled with millionaires, and every man with a diploma would be surrounded by riches. But look closely at the world around you, and you will see the truth. General education does not create wealth. It was never designed to. It creates conformity. It prepares you to obey, to remember, to recite, but not to build, not to command, not to rise. This is where the schools have failed you. They have taught you how to pass tests, but not how to solve real problems. They have filled your mind with disconnected facts, but have never demanded that you apply them in a way that creates value. They gave you lessons, but not purpose. They gave you structure, but not direction. You were taught to memorize, not to monetize. And so you were left with information, but no transformation, educated, but empty. But I now give you the law that governs every real fortune ever built. Riches do not respond to general knowledge. They obey specialized knowledge applied with purpose. The man who earns greatly does so because he has identified a specific field of value, mastered a specific skill or system, and learned to apply that skill in a way that serves others at scale. Do not confuse knowledge with wisdom. A man may know 1,000 things and remain poor. Another may know one thing, deeply, thoroughly, usefully, and become rich. The world does not pay you for how much you know. It pays you for how well you use what you know to solve problems. And the more valuable the problem you solve, the greater the riches that must come to you. Consider the example of John D. Rockefeller. He was not the most educated man in the classical sense. He did not attend elite universities. He did not memorize philosophy or study literature, but he had a deep, specialized understanding of oil, how to refine it, distribute it, organize it, price it, and scale it. He knew what the world needed and how to provide it efficiently. More importantly, he surrounded himself with men who possessed specialized knowledge in areas he did not. He did not need to know everything. He only needed to orchestrate the knowledge around a definite chief aim. And by doing so, he built one of the greatest empires the world has ever known. You must now do the same. You must not chase knowledge for the sake of knowledge. You must seek application. You must begin where you are. Look at your current abilities. Look at the problems you can solve. Look at the things others come to you for. Then ask, where can I go deeper? What must I master? What must I study daily with purpose? And when you find that answer, you must begin the work of becoming a master of your craft. If you cut hair, become the best in your city. If you write, learn the structure of persuasion, the rhythm of language, the art of clarity. If you speak, study tonality, posture, silence, power. If you sell, study human behavior, objection, urgency, and the psychology of purchase. If you train others, study not just the subject, but the student. Learn to listen, learn to adjust, learn to simplify. Do not try to master everything. Pick one lane and go deep. The man who dabbles is ignored. The man who specializes is paid, respected, and remembered. Do not complain that you are not where you want to be. Ask yourself, what value do I bring that solves a painful problem for someone else? If the answer is vague, your income will be vague. If the answer is clear and repeated, your wealth will grow. This is the law of compensation. It does not care for titles. It does not care for resumes. It obeys only value rendered and received. Now hear me. Once you have identified your field of value, you must study with a fire unmatched by ordinary men. You must read not for inspiration, but for instruction. You must listen to masters in your field, dissect their thinking, and surpass them. You must study an hour a day at minimum in your domain. In a year, you will know more than 95% of the population. In 5 years, you will be a recognized expert. In 10, if you have obeyed all other laws, you will become irreplaceable. But knowledge alone is not enough. It must be organized, it must be acted upon, and it must serve a definite purpose. That is the difference between a collector of facts and a creator of wealth. Let me now give you your drill. Do not postpone it. Write down the one problem you want to be known for solving. Identify who needs that solution most. Study your skill or knowledge base daily for at least 1 hour. Apply what you study each day in your work or service. Refine based on results. Improve weekly. Repeat endlessly. This is how you become a man of value. This is how you attract riches instead of chasing them. Because once you become valuable, people will seek you. They will refer you. They will promote you. They will pay you, not for your time, but for your insight, your clarity, your confidence, and your results. Say this now and say it with strength. I read to earn. I study to serve. My knowledge creates results. Again, I read to earn. I study to serve. My knowledge creates results. This is your new standard. No more passive reading. No more mental clutter. From now on, your study has one aim: to create wealth by solving problems through specialized skill. The world has enough educated men. What it lacks is effective men, applied men, disciplined men who can do one thing well and do it with greatness. You will become that man. And when you do, wealth will no longer ignore you. Everything that exists was first imagined. Every empire, invention, industry, and fortune was once an idea, a vision, a fragment of thought that existed in the silent chamber of a single mind. The skyscraper stood in the imagination before it rose into the clouds. The bridge spanned a gap in the mind before it was ever constructed in steel. The bank balance, the business, the book, the machine, all were built in thought before they were built in form. You must now understand that your imagination is not a toy. It is not a fantasy generator. It is the workshop of the mind, the place where you create the invisible structures that the world will soon obey. And like any workshop, your imagination must be visited often, used deliberately, and directed toward a specific purpose. There are 2 forms of imagination: synthetic and creative. Both are essential. Both are powerful. And both must now become tools in your daily labor. Synthetic imagination is the rearrangement of existing ideas, facts, and concepts. It is the type of imagination used when you take known ingredients and assemble them in a new way. Most businesses are born from this faculty. When you take a product that already exists and offer it in a different market, with a better system, or to a new audience, you are using synthetic imagination. When you study what has worked for others and reshape it to fit your definite aim, you are using synthetic imagination. It does not create from nothing. It creates by reorganization. Now consider creative imagination. This is the higher faculty. It is the source of the ideas that come without warning, the inspiration that appears in silence, the vision that enters your mind when you are alone, still and seeking. Creative imagination is the connection between your conscious mind and infinite intelligence. It cannot be forced, but it can be prepared for. And it will speak only to the mind that is trained, focused, and surrendered to a definite chief aim. Let me tell you now about a man who obeyed this law. His name, known throughout the world, was Thomas Edison. Edison was not a lucky inventor. He was a deliberate visionary. He worked with such intensity and discipline of imagination that the world was forced to receive what he had already seen. Edison did not merely tinker, he visualized. He saw the electric light before it ever burned. He saw the phonograph before it ever played. He lived inside the solution long before others believed it was possible. And through thousands of failures, he returned again and again to the workshop of his imagination, refining, adjusting, perfecting, not just in laboratory, but in mind. You must now learn to do the same. Before you attempt to build in the outer world, you must first build the structure in your mind. You must walk through the halls of your future. You must see the numbers in your account. You must hear the voices of those you serve. You must feel the table beneath your hands, the document on your desk, the partners around you, the customers shaking your hand. If you cannot see it, you will never hold it. But if you can build it clearly in imagination and return to it daily, your subconscious will begin to instruct your body, your habits, your attention, and your environment to bring it into form. Let me now speak to the man who says, "But I am not imaginative." That is a lie you were taught. You were born with imagination. You have simply trained it to worry instead of create. You imagine worst-case scenarios. You rehearse conversations that never happened. You fear futures you never built. That is imagination in reverse. You must now reclaim it. You must discipline it. You must direct it. You must walk into your mind each morning and each evening and go to work, not in fear, but in construction. This is your new instruction. Every morning after speaking your definite chief aim aloud, close your eyes and visualize it as already real. Do not see it vaguely. See it clearly, with color, with motion, with sound, with emotion. Walk the halls of your business. Hear the laughter of your family. Feel the weight of the success you have spoken into being. Stay in this visualization for several minutes until the feeling becomes real. Then during the day, act in alignment with that image. Make decisions as the man who already owns that vision. Speak as he would speak. Work as he would work. Think as he would think. Every time you obey the image, you move closer to it. Every time you doubt it, you move further away. Then at night, before sleep, repeat the process. Your mind is most open. Your resistance is weakest. Your subconscious is listening. Let the final image you see be your aim complete. Let the final emotion you feel be gratitude for what is already yours in the unseen. And do not be concerned with how. That is not your domain. Your duty is to build the structure in thought. Infinite intelligence will supply the plan, but it will not speak to the man whose mind is cluttered, scattered, and vague. It will only whisper to the clear, focused, believing man who has dared to build what he has not yet touched. Say this aloud. I see my goal. I walk through it. I live it in mind. I build it in form. Again, I see my goal. I walk through it. I live it in mind. I build it in form. This is no longer fantasy. This is daily construction in the mental workshop. Your imagination is now sacred. It is no longer a place for fear, replay, regret, or fantasy. It is the studio of your success. It is where every result you desire will be built or ignored. You are the architect, and the architect must draw first before the builder ever lifts a tool. Imagination without ritual is nothing more than fantasy. A man may dream of riches all his life and never touch them if he never binds those dreams to daily construction. The mind, like a field, must be worked. It must be tilled. It must be visited every day with a definite plan and a definite purpose. You do not build a mansion in the world without blueprints, and you do not build a fortune in life without mental construction, repeated, disciplined, directed. What the mind rehearses, the body executes. If you rehearse doubt, delay, failure, poverty, rejection, then that is what your body will carry out. You will hesitate, sabotage, withdraw. Your habits will mirror your fear. Your posture will slump with it. Your voice will tremble beneath it. But if you rehearse wealth, if you rehearse confidence, if you walk daily through the halls of your success in the theater of your mind, then every fiber of your being will begin to obey that image. You will begin to move like the man who already possesses what he desires. This is not mysticism. This is law. The law of autosuggestion, the law of emotionalized repetition, the law of definite purpose, the law of belief. And imagination is where they all meet. Now I will give you a ritual, not a routine, a ritual. This is sacred. This is your daily appointment with the man you are becoming, and you must never be late. Every morning before the world speaks, you must return to the workshop of your mind. This is your time. This is your advantage over the drifting man, the lazy man, the man who lets the morning control him. You will now become the man who controls his inner world before touching the outer one. Rise early. Do not touch your phone. Do not absorb the fear and confusion of the world. That is how ordinary men begin their day. You are no longer ordinary. Breathe deeply. Stand with strength. Speak your definite chief aim aloud. Then, with eyes closed and breath steady, walk into your vision. See it, not in blur, not in fog. See it in crystal clarity. You are not watching from outside. You are inside. You are walking the floor of your business. You are closing the deal. You are serving the client. You are receiving the check. You are shaking hands. You are leading the room. You are writing the number. You are giving the speech. You are living the scene. Feel it. How does it feel to know it is done, to know it is yours, to know that you built it in thought and now live it in form? Let the emotion rise, not passively, but deliberately. Your subconscious does not speak English, it speaks emotion. And what you emotionalize, it believes. And what it believes, it creates. Stay in this visualization for 5 to 10 minutes. Do not rush. Do not drift. If your mind wanders, return. The architect does not walk away from his blueprints. Neither will you. Then open your eyes and take one deliberate action toward your vision. Do not end the ritual in stillness. End it in movement. This links the inner to the outer. This instructs the subconscious that the image is to be obeyed. Then, at night, return again to the workshop before sleep. While the body is tired, while the mind is soft, speak your aim again. Re-enter the vision. Walk the same halls. Feel the same feeling. But now imagine it is complete. You are not building it. You are celebrating it. You are looking back with joy. You are thanking God for the manifestation. You are grateful not for a wish, but for a result. Fall asleep in that state. Let it be the last signal your subconscious receives before it goes to work during the night. This daily ritual will become your spiritual furnace. Every day you enter, you feed the flame. Every day you rehearse, you sharpen the image. Every day you emotionalize, you deepen the belief. And the deeper the belief, the faster the execution. You are no longer reacting to life. You are constructing it. Now let me speak to the doubter who still lives in your old mind. The one who says, "But I don't see change yet." That voice must die. That voice must be replaced with one more powerful, "I walk through the halls of my success in advance. I feel the fortune forming." Say it now. Let it rise. I walk through the halls of my success in advance. I feel the fortune forming. Say it again and again until your subconscious knows where you live. And then live there. Speak from it. Act from it. Decide from it. Reject what does not belong to it. And the world will begin to shape itself around your new image. You will no longer speak as a man who hopes. You will speak as a man who has seen. You will no longer move as a man who waits. You will move as a man who knows. You will no longer fear time, because every day in the sacred chamber of your mind, you are already building what others will not dare to dream. This is imagination as law. This is imagination as command. This is what it means to construct your world before the world can resist it. A man may have a burning desire. He may possess faith so deep it quiets every doubt. He may speak his aim, visualize his dream, and command his subconscious daily. But if he fails to convert his desire into a practical, living plan of action, he will remain broke, unknown, and bound by the tyranny of chance. Faith without a plan is fantasy. Thought without structure is smoke. Vision without execution is betrayal. Let me now say plainly what the world will not tell you. There is no success without planning. None. The universe does not reward raw emotion. It rewards organized effort. Every fortune, every invention, every empire you admire was not only visualized in the mind of a bold man, it was constructed by sound, deliberate, and written planning. You have heard the saying, those who fail to plan, plan to fail. And it is true not because it is clever, but because it is law. The man who does not plan must drift. He must react. He must obey emotion and circumstance because he has no course, no system, no anchor. Desire is the engine. Faith is the fuel. Imagination is the workshop. But planning is the wheel, the axle, the frame, the vehicle itself. It is how thought becomes visible. It is how belief becomes structure. It is how your dream gets from the sky into the soil. Now let me introduce you to one of the finest examples of this principle in motion, Charles M. Schwab. Schwab was a man of planning genius. He rose from humble beginnings to become president of Carnegie Steel and later the founder of Bethlehem Steel. But it was not charisma alone that built his fortune. It was his ability to take complex goals and break them into specific, actionable steps, then delegate, measure, and adjust with precision. He was once paid $25,000 for a single idea on time management, a staggering sum in that era. What was the idea? He taught business leaders to write down the 6 most important things they needed to do the next day, prioritize them, and do them in order, without deviation. Simple, powerful, eternal. That is planning. Not complicated, but clear and relentlessly applied. You must now become a planner of your own success. You must take what you have spoken aloud in desire, what you have visualized in imagination, what you have repeated in belief, and you must now crystallize it into written, measurable, visible, accountable action. Do not keep your plan in your head. That is where dreams die. Write it, structure it, review it, speak it. Let it live on paper so that your subconscious and your hands can see it, obey it, and execute it. Let no man deceive you. Greatness is not spontaneous. It is not messy. It is not scattered. It is structured, ordered, reviewed, and obeyed. You do not need a perfect plan. You need a plan in motion because motion builds momentum, and momentum makes room for correction. But you cannot correct what does not move. You cannot refine what you have not yet created. I tell you now, the man who keeps a weekly written plan and acts upon it daily will outperform the man of superior talent but inferior organization. He will grow faster, learn more, make better decisions, and attract higher level opportunity. Why? Because the universe favors the man of intention. And let me give you this. When you write your plan down, you give your subconscious a map to follow. You reduce confusion, you strengthen clarity, you remove emotion from decision-making, you shift from reacting to commanding. The weak man waits to feel like doing something. The strong man looks at his written plan and does what must be done. He no longer depends on inspiration. He obeys instruction. Say this now and say it like law. I do not drift. I move with a plan. My plan is alive, and I act on it daily. Again, I do not drift. I move with a plan. My plan is alive, and I act on it daily. From this day forward, you will never again rely on memory. You will write, you will speak, you will schedule, you will move. Your plan is not decoration. It is your daily command center, your blueprint, your commitment to success, and the world will now begin to obey the man who writes what he says and does what he writes. A plan that is written once and left untouched is not a plan. It is a dead document. A plan that is admired but not obeyed is not a tool. It is a decoration. The man who succeeds is not merely a man of planning. He is a man of dynamic, evolving execution. He does not cling to a structure that no longer serves. He does not worship his outline. He uses it, adjusts it, and molds it as a living instrument to meet the demands of a changing world. Planning must be alive, or it is nothing. I tell you now, flexibility is not weakness, it is power. The weak man resists feedback. He wants his plan to be perfect from the start. But success does not belong to perfection. It belongs to persistence and intelligent adjustment. Every day you will meet new data. Every week you will encounter new resistance. The man who wins is not the one with the flawless strategy. He is the one who reviews it, refines it, sharpens it, and continues to act without hesitation. Now listen carefully. There are 3 levels of commitment you must now install into your planning structure. You must be committed not only to writing the plan, but to reviewing the plan, and most importantly, to executing the plan without delay. The first principle is this: weekly review is law. Every 7 days, you must sit down with your plan and ask, what did I do? What did I avoid? What worked? What needs refinement? You must look your week in the face and see it clearly, not with shame, not with pride, but with truth. And from that truth, you will adjust. Adjusting is not quitting. Adjusting is not doubt. Adjusting is obedience to reality. If a method is failing, refine it. If a priority is wrong, replace it. But do not allow yourself to become passive. You are the captain of your ship. And if you refuse to correct course, do not be surprised when you arrive at the wrong shore. The second principle is daily micro-commitment. Every evening, you must prepare the next day, not in your head, on paper. 3 to 5 core actions, measurable, prioritized, scheduled. And when you wake, you do not negotiate with that list. You execute it, you obey your past self. And in doing so, you build trust with the only person who truly determines your future, you. Do not let emotion dictate your morning. Let the written plan speak. Let the man who was clear yesterday lead the man who may be tempted today. This is how you move forward even when you don't feel like it, because you are no longer led by feeling. You are led by structure. And now the third and often forgotten pillar, external alliance and accountability. The man who walks alone may be free, but he is also vulnerable. You must now choose at least one man, one individual, who will meet with you weekly, not for casual conversation, not for shallow encouragement, but for execution review. You will share your goals. You will report your progress. You will hear feedback. You will adjust in real time. This is your mastermind in motion. Even the sharpest man needs reflection. Even the strongest man needs structure. Do not let pride isolate you from your own growth. The man who is not reviewed cannot refine. And the man who cannot refine will drift, no matter how powerful his intentions. Let me now give you the execution drill. Commit to it. Once per week, on Sunday night or Monday morning, sit down and review your plan from the previous week. Measure what you did and what you didn't. Take full ownership. No stories, no excuses. Then write your new plan for the week. Choose 3 to 6 critical objectives, clear, simple, and measurable. Share this plan with your accountability partner. Speak it aloud. Each evening before bed, write down 3 to 5 non-negotiable tasks for the next day. These are not chores. These are mission steps. Prioritize them by impact, not comfort. Schedule them, put them in time blocks. Do not go to sleep until this is written down and ready. Each morning upon waking, read your task list. Begin with the first item before the day distracts you. Do not check your phone. Do not wait to feel ready. Do not adjust the plan based on mood. Once per week, have a 15 to 30-minute alliance meeting. Share exactly what you accomplished and what you avoided. Name the challenges honestly. Receive direct feedback. Give it 2. Then declare one bold move for the next 7 days. Make it real. Make it public. This is not suggestion. This is structure. This is how you move from idea to income, from blueprint to structure, from vision to results. This is how men build legacies. You will now become the kind of man who cannot drift. Why? because your life is written, your week is scheduled, your day is predecided. Your actions are not hopes. They are commands issued in advance and obeyed in real time. You are not a man of scattered inspiration. You are a man of disciplined execution. Say this aloud now. I do not drift, I plan, I adjust, I act without delay. Again, with conviction. I do not drift, I plan, I adjust, I act without delay. The world has no power over a man who obeys his own plan. He cannot be swayed by gossip. He cannot be slowed by fear. He cannot be stopped by resistance. He is a moving force, a man whose actions are not random, but rooted in definite purpose. You are now that man, and this plan you've built, this living, breathing, evolving plan, is not a piece of paper. It is the daily reflection of a new identity. It is the evidence that you are no longer living by accident. There is no success without decision. There is no riches without commitment. There is no greatness in a man who cannot choose and choose with finality. Indecision is poverty in disguise. It may wear the clothes of intelligence. It may dress itself in caution or waiting for the right time. But beneath it all, it is hesitation. And hesitation is the language of the weak. Let me speak plainly. Every successful man you admire became that way because he decided swiftly and firmly. And every man who failed because he changed his mind often and slowly. The world does not belong to those who wait to see how it turns out. It belongs to those who make it turn by the force of their decision. Most men are ruled by external voices. They ask, "What should I do?" They seek permission. They float between opinions. They test the wind. They hesitate. And while they hesitate, the bold man moves. While they wait for signs, the man of vision acts on clarity. While they deliberate endlessly, the man of decision changes his life forever. Let me give you a model of this principle in action. A man by the name of Napoleon Bonaparte rose from obscurity to empire, not by luck, not by birthright, but by the power of rapid and final decision. His generals often delayed. His enemies often doubted, but Bonaparte studied quickly, moved swiftly, and never wavered once the course was chosen. He advanced while others stood still. He moved while others asked questions. He forced the world to yield because he never did. Do not think this level of decisiveness is reserved for history's giants. The same law that moved Napoleon to glory is available to you now, but it must be used with precision. It must be practiced. It must become your new identity. You must now train your mind to act without unnecessary delay. You must replace "I'm thinking about it" with "I have decided." You must replace maybe with yes or no. You must no longer allow your future to be held hostage by opinions, distractions, or fears. You must move from desire to decision and from decision to action. Let me now expose a truth that many refuse to face. Procrastination is not a time issue. It is a decision issue. The man who delays is the man who has not decided. He says he wants to build a business, but he cannot decide what product to sell. He says he wants to grow, but he cannot decide what skill to master. He says he wants wealth, but he cannot decide what he is willing to sacrifice. And so he does nothing. And in doing nothing, he programs poverty. This ends now. You are no longer permitted to float. You are no longer allowed to delay. You are no longer the man who needs more time. You will now become the man who acts, who moves, who obeys his instinct, who chooses, and who builds his world with the hammer of decisive commitment. Let me now give you the decision drill, a test of your seriousness. Within the next 7 days, you will make one bold, irreversible decision. Not a discussion, not a brainstorm, a decision. It may be financial, it may be relational, it may be a career move, it may be an investment of time, energy, or money, but it must stretch you. It must demand obedience, it must be visible. And once you decide, you do not look back. You do not consult the crowd. You do not reanalyze endlessly. You move forward and adjust along the way. This is the path of all success. Not blind action, not reckless movement, but committed decision followed by relentless execution. Say this aloud. Let it ring in your bones. I decide. I act. I do not wait. I build my life by choice. Again and louder. I decide. I act. I do not wait. I build my life by choice. This is the code of the man who cannot be stopped. He decides what he wants. He names it. He writes it. He speaks it. He moves toward it. And he refuses to quit until it is done. You must understand, indecision weakens the mind. It allows doubt to grow. It gives fear room to breathe. But the man of decision cuts off all retreat. He removes the exits. He closes the back doors. He says, this is my path, this is my mountain, and I will climb it, or I will die on the rocks. That is how fortunes are made. Not in emotion, not in theory, but in decision, repeated and enforced. You are now that man. No more drift, no more waiting, no more asking for signs. You decide, and the universe responds. If you are looking for a single quality that determines who will become rich and who will die in regret, look no further than this: persistence. It is the one trait that separates desire from fulfillment, belief from result, vision from reality. The man who can continue without applause, without motivation, without obvious progress, is the man who eventually commands success. For success belongs not to the man who begins with fire, but to the man who refuses to extinguish it. Let me be blunt. Most men quit. They quit not because the goal was unreachable, but because they were unwilling to persist through the resistance required to earn it. The world is filled with brilliant men who lacked endurance, talented men who lacked repetition, inspired men who lacked discipline. The graveyard is rich with potential, but poor in execution. And the reason is this: they never built persistence. They expected the road to ease. They mistook effort for struggle and resistance for failure. Now listen closely. No one is born persistent. Persistence is not a gift. It is a habit. It is trained through repetition, through fire, through disappointment, and through decision. You will not persist because you feel like it. You will persist because you have built a mind that refuses to retreat. There are 4 elements that, when combined, form the indestructible habit of persistence. If even one is missing, your will is vulnerable. But when all 4 are present, no setback can stop you. The first element is definite purpose, a burning desire backed by clarity. If you do not know why you are fighting, you will quit when the battle gets hard. But when your goal is precise, emotional, and non-negotiable, you will crawl through fire to reach it. Desire fuels all endurance. Without it, no plan, no belief, no discipline can last. This is why the previous principles must be built first. Desire is the engine of persistence. The second element is a definite plan. Without structure, persistence becomes chaos. You may have fire, but it will scatter. You may have energy, but it will burn out. But when your plan is clear, reviewed, and written, it becomes the daily instruction that pulls you forward. A good plan does not guarantee success, but it makes quitting harder. Every box you check reinforces belief. Every task completed strengthens identity. You see your progress, and that sight alone creates momentum. The third element is a mind guarded against negativity. The man who listens to doubters will soon become one. The man who absorbs fear will soon feel it. Your persistence must be protected like a flame in the wind. You must withdraw from the weak. You must fast from the noise. You must control your environment. Do not explain your plan to those who cannot see. Do not seek applause. You must become obsessed with your aim and indifferent to every voice that does not feed it. And the fourth element is a mastermind alliance. No great man persists alone. Even the strongest grow weary. But the man who is surrounded by one or more minds aligned in purpose cannot collapse. Your mastermind will correct you, encourage you, challenge you, and sharpen your persistence into steel. When your fire dims, their fire will rekindle it. This is not weakness, it is structure. Now, let me give you an example, a story you must remember. A man named R.U. Darby and his uncle once discovered a gold vein in Colorado. They purchased equipment, dug with enthusiasm, and found a small fortune. Encouraged, they continued. But after a short time, the vein disappeared. They dug a few more feet and then quit. They sold their machinery to a junk man and left. That junk man hired a mining engineer to assess the situation. The engineer studied the fault lines and determined that the vein had simply shifted. He advised to dig 3 feet further. The junk man did exactly that and found one of the richest gold veins in American history. R.U. Darby quit 3 feet from gold. The lesson is eternal. Most men stop when the answer is just beyond the resistance. They walk away when one more step, one more day, one more push would have changed everything. Now let me give you 3 more examples of persistence rewarded. First, Thomas Edison. He failed over 10,000 times before producing a working electric light. 10,000. Most men would not try 10 times, but Edison did not see failure. He said, "I have not failed. I have simply found 10,000 ways that do not work." That is the voice of persistence. Second, Abraham Lincoln. He failed in business, lost elections, suffered personal tragedies, was told by his peers he was unfit to lead. But he persisted. He believed in a cause larger than himself. And through years of defeat and ridicule, he rose to the presidency and changed the course of a nation. Third, Colonel Sanders, founder of Kentucky Fried Chicken. At age 65, he took his chicken recipe and drove across America seeking partners. He was rejected over 1,000 times before someone said yes. Today, that yes feeds millions, but it came after 1,000 no's. Now ask yourself, what would your life look like if you persisted like this? What would your income be? What would your body look like? What would your relationships feel like? What would your business be producing if you had refused to give up the last time it felt like nothing was working? You must now decide to become the man who persists without exception. That phrase must become your internal law. Not "I try," not "I hope," but "I continue until the door opens, until the skill is mastered, until the money arrives, until the result is mine." Now let me give you the instruction. Write your definite chief aim again, boldly, clearly, without apology. Underneath it, write, "I will persist until I succeed." There is no alternative. Post this where you can see it. On your mirror, on your desk, in your car, in your wallet. Speak it aloud each day. Take at least one action per day, regardless of mood, that moves you closer to your goal. When you feel like quitting, read your aim aloud again. And if you stumble, return without delay. Say this now. I persist, I endure, I advance daily, I cannot be stopped. Say it again with authority. I persist, I endure, I advance daily, I cannot be stopped. That is the voice of a man who refuses to die with potential still in him. This is not the path of the easy. This is the path of the builder, the doer, the overcomer. And you, my friend, are now on that path. Persistence is not something you do once. It is something you do daily, even when the voice of fatigue whispers for comfort, even when your emotions rebel, even when the world gives you every excuse to pause. Persistence is the decision to act regardless of how you feel. It is not found in dramatic bursts of energy. It is revealed in the quiet hours when no one is watching, when no one is cheering, when it is easier to drift. That is the battleground, and you must now win it every single day. Let me tell you the truth. The men who build wealth, who become legends, who forge empires, they are not always the most talented, they are not always the most connected, but they are always the most relentless. They act when others hesitate. They return when others retreat. They execute while others analyze. They push forward not because it is easy, but because they made a vow. I will not stop. You must now build that vow into your very identity. And the only way to do it is through daily practice. Just as muscles grow through repetition and resistance, persistence grows only when you act in the face of resistance every day. Here is the rule. You are never again allowed to let a day pass without taking some action, no matter how small, toward your definite chief aim. Do not misunderstand. This does not mean monumental leaps every day. It means movement, progress, obedience to your vision. Some days you may make a phone call. Some days you may refine your plan. Some days you may push through 5 hours of deep labor. Some days you may only review your goals and visualize your outcome. But there must be no 0 days, no gaps, no exceptions. Because when you allow one day to slip, the mind begins to soften. It begins to make excuses. It begins to forget who you are building yourself to be. But when you act, even when exhausted, you reinforce the belief, I am the man who continues. I am the man who persists. I am the man who cannot be stopped. Let me now give you the daily persistence structure. It is not optional if you are serious about success. The daily persistence structure. Each morning, read your definite chief. Aim aloud. Declare your core affirmation. I persist, I endure, I advance daily, I cannot be stopped. Ask yourself, what must I do today, no matter how I feel, that moves me closer to my goal? Write it, commit to it, execute it throughout the day. If emotion, fatigue, or resistance rises, return to your affirmation. Re-anchor in your identity. You are not ruled by mood, you are ruled by mission. Each evening, review the action you took. No matter how small, acknowledge your advance. Visualize the long-term compounding of your effort. If the day was difficult, write, still I acted. That sentence becomes your badge of honor. If you miss a day, you are not allowed to collapse into guilt or shame. You recommit immediately. You speak your aim aloud twice. You take an action that moment. You reinforce, I may fall, but I never stop. You are training your will. You are building a mind that moves forward on command, not on comfort. This separates the weak from the strong. This separates the hopeful from the builders. Because hope drifts, builders persist. Now let me speak to the deeper truth. Persistence does not mean perfection. It means no retreat. You will fail. You will be rejected. You will get tired. You will face temptation. But if you act through it, if you return again and again, if you stay in motion, the law will reward you. The world bows to the man who refuses to stop. You may not see the result on day 1. You may not see it on day 7. But if you continue, you will look back 1 year from now and be unrecognizable to the man you are today. Say this now. Say it with every cell in your body. I persist, I endure, I advance daily, I cannot be stopped. Again, deeper. I persist, I endure, I advance daily. I cannot be stopped. Make that your oath. Say it every morning. Speak it when tired. Speak it when doubt arises. Speak it when others quit. Speak it until your actions reflect it. Speak it until your results prove it. This is no longer about motivation. This is about identity. You are now the man who does not stop. You are now the man who builds in silence. You are now the man who moves daily until the world surrenders. No great fortune was ever built alone. No man rises to empire on the strength of his own mind alone. The myth of the self-made man is a romantic illusion, because behind every towering figure in history is a mastermind, an alliance of minds, a union of purpose, a gathering of intelligence, energy, and faith, working together for a common goal. This principle is not optional, it is not secondary, it is law, and the man who neglects it will build slower, suffer more, and fall harder than the man who obeys it. You must understand this. The mastermind is not just cooperation, it is power. When 2 or more minds are brought together in perfect harmony for the pursuit of a definite purpose, a third mind is created. This is not metaphor. It is a living, breathing intelligence greater than the sum of its parts. This invisible mind influences ideas, sharpens decisions, accelerates plans, and attracts results. You cannot see it, but once you experience it, you will never build without it again. Let me give you a historical example that proves the truth. Andrew Carnegie, one of the wealthiest men to ever live, openly credited his success not to his own brilliance, but to the mastermind alliance he formed with a select group of men, each one bringing specialized knowledge, loyalty, clarity, and strength. These men, known as his brain trust, helped him orchestrate not only a steel empire, but an entire shift in American industry. Carnegie knew he could not know everything, but he could build an alliance with those who did. And in doing so, he multiplied his thinking, extended his reach, and increased his fortune. You must now build your own alliance. Do not wait until you feel ready. Begin now. Your mastermind may start with one other person, a friend, a mentor, a partner, someone who believes in your aim, speaks truth, and brings energy, not excuses. You must meet with this person weekly, not to gossip, not to vent, but to share your plans, review your results, and refine your direction. This alliance is sacred. Treat it as such. Come prepared. Speak with respect. Listen with intent. Offer clarity. Demand accountability. In time, you will feel the third force rise. You will speak thoughts you did not know you had. Ideas will form faster. Decisions will sharpen. Courage will increase. This is the mastermind in motion. Now let me speak to something deeper, something often ignored but eternally true. The most powerful mastermind alliance a man will ever form is in his marriage. A woman, rightly chosen, aligned in vision, and honored in spirit, can make a man unbreakable. But a woman, wrongly chosen, or unaligned in purpose, will drain him of vision, strip him of confidence, and sentence him to spiritual poverty. Many men fall not because of failure in business, but because of conflict in the home. They rise with vision, only to have it mocked. They speak with clarity, only to have it questioned. They act with courage, only to be met with resistance. This is not partnership. This is war. And a man at war with his household cannot build peace outside of it. But when a woman supports a man's purpose, when she believes in his destiny, when she reflects his greatness before the world sees it, that woman becomes the mastermind in motion. Her energy fuels him. Her intuition sharpens him. Her peace steadies him. Her presence becomes a sanctuary. And the man with that kind of partner is dangerous to every limitation. You must choose this alliance with wisdom. And if you are already in one, you must train it, not ignore it. Share your aim. Speak your plan. Invite her insight. Draw strength from her spirit. This is not weakness. This is wisdom. This is law. Now speak this aloud. I build with others. I align in purpose. We rise as one for one goal. Say it again. I build with others. I align in purpose. We rise as one for one goal. You are no longer a lone wolf. You are a builder. And every builder needs a team. Every warrior needs a brother. Every man of wealth needs a counsel. The mastermind is not a suggestion. It is a commandment. And if you obey it, your thinking will expand, your plans will accelerate, your doubts will shrink, and you will move like a man no longer building alone. Of all the principles I have taught, there is none more powerful and none more misunderstood than the mystery of sex transmutation. The moment this word is mentioned, the average man either turns away with discomfort or listens with curiosity. But very few understand what is truly being taught here. Let me now reveal this plainly. Sexual energy is the most powerful creative force in man. It is the root of life, the source of ambition, the core of desire. It fuels reproduction, yes, but in its higher form, it fuels invention, leadership, courage, enterprise, legacy. The man who wastes it will be ruled by the world. The man who masters it will be followed by the world. This principle is not about repression. It is not about denial. It is not about guilt. It is about transmutation, the redirection of powerful energy from the lower realm of indulgence into the higher realm of creation. Every man feels this fire. It is universal. It is unavoidable. But what you do with it determines your destiny. The weak man obeys it. He chases pleasure. He drains himself in fantasy, indulgence, distraction, and emotional highs that leave him depleted. He becomes soft. His will weakens. His focus scatters. He becomes passive, addicted to stimulation, and addicted to himself. He confuses activity with creation. And while he is busy feeding the flesh, his destiny fades. But the great man, the builder, the producer, the leader, he channels that same energy. He does not suppress it. He does not pretend it does not exist. He observes it, respects it, and redirects it toward his aim. That same fire becomes the fuel for long hours, the fire for relentless study, the energy behind his speeches, the certainty in his decisions, the charisma in his presence. You can feel it in him. He is electric. He is composed, not repressed. He walks with depth. His words carry weight. And that power is no accident. It is cultivated through the mastery of transmutation. Let me give you two examples. The first, Leonardo da Vinci, one of the greatest minds to ever live, a man of endless invention, discipline, vision, and creative fire. Yet it is documented that da Vinci was celibate, not out of weakness or shame, but out of devotion to his higher faculties. He understood that energy used on lower desires was energy lost for art, architecture, anatomy, and innovation. His works live on centuries after his death because he poured his life force into creation, not consumption. The second, Henry Ford, a man of tremendous drive, precision, and world-changing production. While not celibate, he was known for discipline in his personal life, restraint in his habits, and an obsession with efficiency. His energy was not scattered. It was focused. And that focused energy transformed industry forever. These men did not destroy their desire. They reassigned it. They were not ascetics. They were creators. And you must now become the same. You must now begin the daily drill of redirection. Every time desire rises in you, do not suppress it. Do not feel shame. Do not act on it impulsively. Instead, recognize it as creative fuel and ask, where will I direct this fire? Will I waste it in indulgence? Or will I pour it into writing, building, refining, leading, moving, speaking, learning? This is the fork in the road, and your answer to that question will determine the size of your legacy. Now listen, transmutation is not easy at first. You have trained your mind to obey impulse, but every time you redirect, you retrain your nervous system to follow a higher order. Every time you say no to indulgence and yes to creation, you harden your will, sharpen your mind, and upgrade your identity. Say it now with full power. I convert fire into force. I channel energy into empire. Again, I convert fire into force. I channel energy into empire. You are no longer a slave to impulse. You are no longer ruled by appetite. You are now the man who uses every force within him to build, to create, to expand, to dominate his chosen field. You will walk differently now. Others may not know what changed, but they will feel it. You will speak with fewer words. You will think with deeper clarity. Your presence will grow heavier. You will become a man of energy, not leakage, a man of power, not waste, a man of creation, not escape. This is the mystery and the mastery of transmutation. There is a worker within you that never rests. It is always awake, always listening, always building. It does not speak, but it always hears. It does not question, but it always obeys. It cannot judge right from wrong, true from false, or wealth from poverty. It only knows this. What you repeat with emotion, it accepts as instruction. That worker is your subconscious mind, and it is either your most faithful servant or your most dangerous enemy. This mind is silent, but it is powerful. It controls your habits. It controls your emotions. It controls your automatic responses, your instincts, your reactions, your identity, and your reality. Whatever you plant into it over and over, it will grow. And it does not care whether that seed is poison or power. You become what you plant. Your voice is the seed. Now let me give you a fact that should awaken you to your responsibility. The average man thinks around 70,000 thoughts per day, and over 90% of them are the same as the day before. The same doubts, the same fears, the same limitations, the same silent commentary of self-doubt, worry, and weakness. He wakes and thinks, I hope today goes better. He walks and thinks, why does nothing ever work out? He sees others succeed and thinks, maybe I'm just not meant for that. And every single one of those thoughts is accepted by the subconscious as a command. That voice inside says, very well, we shall feel the same. We shall act the same. We shall repeat the same patterns. We will stay exactly where we are. That is how most men live, a slave to yesterday's thoughts, repeating today's failures, ensuring tomorrow's frustration. They want change, but they refuse to change the one thing that matters. The thoughts they plant, the words they speak, and the emotional repetitions they allow. But not you. You are here because you are ready to become deliberate. You are ready to speak on purpose. You are ready to write your instructions and to command your internal worker with precision, repetition, and belief. Now hear me carefully. If you do not plant your aim into your subconscious mind, the weeds of fear, failure, comparison, and confusion will grow by default. They require no watering. They will rise on their own. But faith, belief, wealth, discipline, these must be planted, spoken, and reinforced daily. You must become the gardener of your subconscious, and your voice is the tool you will use. Each time you speak your definite chief aim aloud, you are planting it deeper. Each time you speak your affirmations, you are building new roots. Each time you visualize your future as done, you are watering the soil. Each time you act, even when tired, you are reinforcing that the vision is real. Do not expect one planting to last a lifetime. You must revisit this field daily. You must protect it jealously. You must be vigilant against weeds. You must speak truth louder than fear. Now let me give you the daily subconscious planting ritual. You must obey this without exception. The daily subconscious planting ritual. 1. Morning, first 20 minutes after waking. Speak your definite chief aim aloud with clarity and emotion. Speak 3 to 5 core affirmations. Here are some examples of what you can declare. I am the master of my mind. My thoughts obey my voice. I build wealth with thought, word, and deed. Visualize the completion of your goal. See it, feel it, believe it. Spend 2 minutes in stillness, anchoring the feeling. 2, throughout the day, interrupt negative loops immediately. Replace them aloud. That is not who I am. I think with purpose. I speak with power. Guard your mental input. Refuse gossip, complaint, fear-based news, and small minds. 3rd evening, final 20 minutes before sleep. Review your goals. Read them aloud. Repeat your affirmations in a whisper. Visualize your ideal future again, but this time as already complete. Fall asleep inside the identity you are becoming. You must understand, your subconscious does not care about truth. It cares only about repetition. If you speak a lie long enough with emotion, it will believe it. If you speak the truth with weakness and hesitation, it will reject it. So speak your future with strength. Feed your mind what your destiny demands. Let me now speak this into your spirit. I do not recycle yesterday's weakness. I plant new thoughts. I plant power. I plant purpose. Again, I do not recycle yesterday's weakness. I plant new thoughts. I plant power. I plant purpose. You are not a prisoner of your old identity. You are not a servant to your upbringing. You are not the echo of old voices, old wounds, or old memories. You are the commander of your inner world. And from this moment forward, your subconscious will receive new orders, clear, bold, repeated, and backed by action. Say this now, and say it with the voice of a man who believes what he says. I become what I plant. My voice is the seed. My mind obeys what I command. Again, I become what I plant. My voice is the seed. My mind obeys what I command. This is the daily work. This is the unseen labor of the rich. This is how you turn thought into power. And that silent worker within you, he is ready. He is listening. And now he is yours. There is a hidden force in you that speaks before you open your mouth. It sends signals before you take action. It communicates certainty or confusion, strength or weakness, belief or fear, without saying a word. This is not mysticism. This is the broadcasting and receiving station of your brain, and it is as real and measurable as electricity. It is the invisible energy you carry, the unseen vibration you emit, and the silent invitation you send out to others, opportunities, ideas, and outcomes. You are not only a thinker, you are a transmitter. Most men do not know this. They walk through life unaware that their thoughts are not contained. They think with fear, and they broadcast it. They doubt themselves, and the world mirrors it back to them. They worry, and they attract chaos. And they wonder why success never enters their life, while they are pushing it away with every low-frequency thought they emit. Let me speak to you now in plain terms. Your brain is both a receiver and a broadcaster of thought. It operates like a radio station. You send signals out, and you also receive signals in. But you can only receive the signal that matches the frequency you are tuned to. That means if your dominant thoughts are of wealth, creation, confidence, clarity, and belief, you will begin to attract insights, people, energy, and opportunities that align with that station. But if your station is fear, lack, self-pity, and confusion, then you are tuned to a channel where wealth cannot be received. This is not superstition. This is mental law. You must now become deliberate in how you tune your brain daily. You must carry your aim in your pocket and in your mind. You must remind your brain every hour what station it is operating on, because if you do not choose it, the world will choose for you. Let me now give you an example. A man whose life proved this principle in silence. Henry Ford was not known for being loud. He was not flashy. He did not carry himself like a man trying to impress. But when he entered a room, something shifted. People listened. People followed. People invested. Why? Because Ford was tuned with absolute certainty. He believed in his vision so deeply, so completely, that his presence broadcasted command. He did not beg for support. His belief demanded it. This silent magnetism cannot be faked. It cannot be memorized. It is not found in words. It is felt in frequency. It is the tone behind your tone, the conviction behind your eye, and it begins in the privacy of your own mind. Now let me ask you, what are you broadcasting? What signal are you sending with your thoughts? What tone is behind your movement? You do not need to answer aloud. Your results have already answered. If you are attracting small minds, small opportunities, and small outcomes, it is because your signal is low. If you are repelling support, wealth, and insight, it is because your mental station is out of alignment. But the good news is this: you can retune the signal, and you must do it daily. You must now understand your brain is not just thinking, it is attracting. It is constantly signaling to the world who you are, what you expect, and what you will receive. This is why two men can walk into the same room with the same opportunity, and one leaves with nothing while the other leaves with favor. Because one's brain was tuned for reception, and the other's was broadcasting failure without even knowing it. Now say this aloud. Let it echo within you. I send thoughts of wealth. I receive ideas of power. My brain obeys success. Again, I send thoughts of wealth. I receive ideas of power. My brain obeys success. You are now no longer just a thinker. You are a broadcaster. You are a receiver. You are a magnet for clarity, favor, strength, and opportunity. The world is responding to your frequency right now. There is a door that does not open until the others have been passed through. A chamber that reveals itself only to the disciplined. A voice that cannot be heard by the noisy and cannot be trusted by the untrained. This is the sixth sense, the final faculty of all achievement, and until you have cultivated desire, built faith, practiced autosuggestion, gathered knowledge, used imagination, obeyed planning, enforced decision, developed persistence, united minds, transmuted energy, programmed the subconscious, and tuned the brain, you will not find this door. But once you do, it will be the quietest and most powerful part of your entire mind. The sixth sense is not mysticism. It is not magic. It is not a divine accident. It is a knowing, a deep, quiet awareness that speaks without sound. It cannot be forced. It cannot be scheduled. It cannot be demanded, but it can be earned. And when it arrives, it often comes as a nudge, a whisper, a sudden clarity, a feeling that says, "This is the move." You have felt it before, perhaps in moments of calm, perhaps when you were alone, perhaps when you had exhausted your logic and your mind went still, and suddenly you just knew. You could not explain it. But something within you had seen what the eye had not yet seen. Something in you understood beyond thought. That was not chance. That was the early voice of your sixth sense. It is the faculty by which infinite intelligence whispers into the minds of the prepared. It does not visit the noisy. It does not linger with the indecisive. It avoids the frantic and the proud. But it is faithful to the man who has mastered the earlier principles, because the man who has trained his mind is safe to guide. The man who has disciplined his thought is trusted with insight. The man who acts with courage is worthy of inner knowledge. Let me speak now of two men who lived by this law. First, Andrew Carnegie. His success did not come from mere organization or industrial leverage. He often credited a voice within, a stillness that would guide him before meetings, before negotiations, before major decisions. He would retreat, become quiet, and listen. And in that listening, decisions would come. He trusted them. He obeyed them. He built an empire not only with logic, but with inner revelation. Second, Thomas Edison. Beyond his planning, experimentation, and technical knowledge, Edison often spoke of ideas coming to him in flashes. He would fall into a half-sleep, holding a metal ball. As he drifted, the ball would fall and wake him. At the exact moment his mind passed from conscious thinking to subconscious reception. In those moments, ideas would arrive fully formed. That was his access to the sixth sense, and from it came the phonograph, the electric light, the motion picture. This power is not given to the brilliant, it is given to the available. And availability comes not by accident, but by mastery of the principles you now hold. You may ask, how will I know when it has come? You will know, because it will speak when the mind is quiet. You will not doubt. You will not question. It may not come every day, but when it does, it will be clear. It will say, call him. Leave now. Do this. Wait. And if you obey that voice quickly and fully, you will often discover that it was right before evidence could confirm it. The sixth sense is not meant to replace logic. It is not meant to bypass thinking. It is the final layer, the capstone on the pyramid of mastery. And it only arrives once the foundation is firm. It is how the great men rise when others fall. It is how they move before others see. It is how they prepare before the world knows why. They are not just brilliant. They are in tune with a deeper law. They are listening while others talk. They are acting while others analyze. You may find that this sense first appears during crisis, when all logic fails, when all plans collapse, when you are forced to be still And in that stillness, there it is, the whisper, the knowing, the voice that says, now. You must not ignore it. You must not argue with it. You must train yourself to recognize and obey it, even when others do not understand, even when there is no evidence, even when it makes no sense. That is the test. And when you pass it, it will return. There is no routine for this, no formula, only a life that is now quiet enough, clear enough, obedient enough to hear it. That is why you have trained the mind. That is why you have repeated your aim. That is why you have spoken with fire, guarded your thoughts, persisted through fatigue, united with others, and redirected your energy from the lower to the higher. You have been preparing for this moment, the moment where you no longer walk alone. Say this aloud, let it land in the deep. I trust the whisper. I act with knowing. I obey the unseen law. Again, I trust the whisper. I act with knowing. I obey the unseen law. You have reached the final principle. You are no longer a man guessing at life. You are now a man receiving instruction. And what you build from here will not come from you alone. It will come from the deepest part of you, and the world will call it genius, but you will know the truth. There are 6 invisible enemies that destroy more dreams than failure ever could. They creep in unseen. They whisper through thoughts. They infect decisions. And they rule the lives of 99 men out of every 100 without ever being named. These enemies are not physical. They leave no scars. But they do something far worse. They make men live small, think small, and die without ever touching their greatness. I call them the 6 ghosts of fear. And if you are to walk in wealth, purpose, and power, you must learn to recognize them, confront them, and destroy them by name. These 6 fears are poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death. Every other fear, no matter how subtle or loud, traces back to one of these 6. And each one of them is a form of mental poverty. Each one is a thief dressed in logic. Each one sounds reasonable, but each one must be overthrown. If you do not kill them, they will rule you. And no man ruled by fear can ever become rich, first in mind, then in wealth. Let us take them one by one. And as I speak, listen not just for knowledge, but for the voice you have heard in your own mind. 1, fear of poverty. This is the fear that keeps men frozen. It tells you, don't risk, don't build, don't move. What if you lose everything? It makes you believe that lack is safer than the pursuit of wealth. It tells you that comfort is success. But comfort is the grave of achievement. Fear of poverty will make a man stay in a job he hates, in a city that drains him, in a routine that kills him, because the thought of losing a little feels more dangerous than gaining a lot. This fear is what made slaves out of free men. It is what makes a man settle. It is what keeps him quiet when he should speak. It is what makes him seek security instead of sovereignty. You must kill this fear by declaring, I serve purpose, not paycheck. I build value, not safety. I do not fear lack. I produce wealth. Repeat it daily until the fear of loss is replaced with the desire to grow. 2, fear of criticism. This is the fear that silences the voice of many before it ever speaks. It says, what will they think of you? What if you look foolish? What if they don't approve? And so the man who could lead stays quiet. The man with the idea keeps it hidden. The man who was made to stand tall crouches down to blend in. This fear is what keeps you average, because average is safe, average is accepted, average is never mocked, but average is death to the man who was born with vision. Let me say this plainly. The fear of criticism is the fear of man, and no man who fears man can ever obey his own purpose. You will never lead those you are still trying to please. Say this aloud to drive it out. I speak boldly. I build visibly. I obey vision, not opinion. My purpose is louder than their voices. 3, fear of ill health. This fear is subtle. It may not scream. It may hide in sensible language. Take it easy. Don't push too hard. What if you burn out? But underneath it all is a belief that the body is fragile, that the mind will break, that the path is too hard, too dangerous, too costly. You must remember, health follows purpose. A man who is weak in vision will be weak in body. But the man who burns with desire, who moves with decision, who refuses to quit, his health aligns with his energy. And yes, you must care for the body, but you do not bow to it. You lead it. You command it. You strengthen it with will and obedience. Say this aloud. My mind strengthens my body. My purpose energizes my life. I do not fear illness. I build vitality through motion and vision. 4. Fear of loss of love. This fear will make a man shrink. It says, if you change, they may leave. If you grow, they may not follow. If you build, you may outgrow. And so men stay small to keep the peace. They slow down to be accepted. They betray themselves to be loved. This fear will keep you surrounded by those who do not believe in you, and it will make you compromise your voice for affection. But you must decide, do you want approval or do you want purpose? Because sometimes they do not come together. The truth is this, the right love will support your growth. The wrong love will fear it. The man who fears loss will never rise. Say this aloud and say it boldly. I walk in love, but I do not beg for it. I grow even if I outgrow. I love with strength, not fear. I do not fear rejection. I pursue truth. 5. Fear of old age. And this is the fear that says, it's too late. You've missed your window. Look how young the others are. It is a lie, a cunning, cruel lie that keeps men from beginning. Some of the most successful men in history started after 40, 50, even 60 years of wandering. The difference is they began while others stayed in regret. Old age is not a curse. It is the gift of refinement, wisdom, precision. A young fool may have energy, but an older man with purpose is a weapon. Time is not your enemy. Wasted time is. But time obeys the man who moves now. Say this and erase the lie. It is not too late. I begin now. My experience is my advantage. My wisdom is my weapon. I grow stronger with age. 6. Fear of death, the final ghost, the one that hides behind all the others. It says, what's the point? It all ends anyway. And so men delay their dreams. They play small. They waste time. Because beneath it all, they are afraid that the end will come before they begin. But the wise man knows death is not the enemy. It is the motivator. It is the clock that reminds you to move. It is the whisper that says, you do not have forever, so live now, build now, speak now, begin now. The man who lives with urgency does not fear death, because he knows he is using every breath with intention. Say this aloud and remove its power. I am not afraid to die. I am afraid to live without building. I use my time. I multiply it. I leave nothing undone. Now that you know the 6 ghosts, you must never again let them speak unchecked. When you hear them, name them, speak against them, replace them. Declare your affirmations aloud every day until fear can no longer live in the house you have built. You are no longer a man in fear. You are a man in faith. Say this aloud, the final seal of this chapter. I fear nothing. I love discipline. I live free. I walk in the armor of faith. Again, I fear nothing. I love discipline. I live free. I walk in the armor of faith. Now rise and build like a man who has nothing left to fear. This is the end of the message, but it must become the beginning of your transformation. What you have just heard are not ideas. They are not motivational fragments. They are not tips or techniques. They are universal laws, immutable, eternal, not invented by man, but discovered in the minds and lives of those who rose from nothing to everything. The poor who became powerful, the timid who became rulers, the wanderers who became wealthy, These 13 principles are the structure behind every enduring success in history. They are the cause. All results are effects. If you obey them, they will obey you. If you delay them, they will delay you. If you ignore them, they will let you drift. But if you install them, speak them, live them, they will shape your world in your image. You now know the truth. Desire is the starting point. Nothing begins until the fire is lit. Faith is belief installed through repetition, decision, and emotion. Autosuggestion is the daily ritual that commands the subconscious. Specialized knowledge is applied intelligence, not theory, but action. Imagination is the workshop where you build what will soon exist. Organized planning is the bridge between intention and income. Decision is the sword that cuts hesitation. Persistence is the muscle that moves even when tired. The mastermind is the alliance that multiplies your vision. Sex transmutation is the channeling of your deepest energy. The subconscious mind is your silent servant. Give it only clear orders. The brain is the broadcaster and receiver of the wealth frequency. The sixth sense is your final teacher, appearing only when you are ready. And the six ghosts of fear, poverty, criticism, ill health, loss of love, old age, and death must be named and burned at the altar of discipline and truth. Now hear me clearly. This message is not meant to be heard once. If you only listen once, your mind will nod and forget. If you only listen casually, your body will feel good and change nothing. But if you return daily, even for a few minutes, and speak the words aloud and apply one principle at a time, your mind will begin to change. And when your mind changes, your world must follow. This is how men rewire identity. This is how beliefs are rewritten. This is how new habits are formed, not by effort alone, but by programming. Do not listen passively. Do not consume this like entertainment. This is your instruction. Make it your morning ritual. Make it your night training. Let your subconscious drink from it. Let your brain broadcast it. Let your spirit align with it every day, even if only 5 minutes. You don't need the whole mountain each time, but you must climb something. You must feed your inner world more often than the world feeds fear into you. You must become loyal to this message because it is loyal to your success. You now know what most will never hear. You now hold what most will never obey. And because of that, you are now responsible. Speak this now as your final vow. I obey the laws of wealth. I repeat truth. I act daily. I will not drift. I demand riches of life by law, by will, by decision. Say it again. I obey the laws of wealth. I repeat truth. I act daily. I will not drift. I demand riches of life by law, by will, by decision. This is your blueprint. This is your path. And now it is yours to live. Let this message live in you until you no longer recognize the man you used to be.